This is a step-by-step how to lay your own lace frontal wig, whether it's a lace closure, lace frontal, lace front. I'm going to teach you how to install it yourself. No Hey Boo stylist needed. Gone are the days where you're booking a hair appointment with a stylist who is untrustworthy, keeps your deposit, and cancels your appointment randomly. Absolutely not. My rule of thumb is if I can do it myself, I'm going to do it myself. If I don't know how to do it myself, I'm going to learn how to do it myself. I didn't even get a chance to introduce myself in my last video. My name is India Chanel. I recently just turned 20. A quick thing to note about me, I love to do everything myself. I love for my maintenance, especially my beauty maintenance, to be under my control. When it's in my control, I know it's going to come out right. Now back to this tutorial. I'm using the Bold Hold Active Lace Glue to go ahead and secure my ball cap down. And where you apply that lace glue is very crucial to preventing hair loss when taking this off. Always apply your lace glue in front of your hairline. You could use a holding spray to lay down your ball cap, but I prefer to use a lace glue because it's stronger. And a key tip when laying lace glue, always use a clean applicator tool. Let's just say your applicator tool was dirty with previous lace glues from other install. It's going to cake up your current layer of lace glue, making it cakey and not allowing it to dry evenly. And that is the last thing you want, is for your lace glue to not dry evenly and get really clumpy in some areas. On this side, I did get a little heavy-handed with the lace glue, so all I did was spread it out, and if I had a little bit of extra lace glue on my stick, I would go ahead and apply it to the other side. And for ball caps, preferably, I prefer the HD ball caps, but the regular ball caps work a little bit better when it comes to getting in contact with the lace glue. So if I had to recommend any ball cap, it would definitely be the regular one.
Go to lunch in the Jewish community. I won't tell on the bros with immunity. Can't beat them, that shit ain't gon' ruin me. I'm the only one now that
Now that both sides are spread evenly, I'm going to dry that down until it's clear. And if you know me from TikTok or Instagram, you know the girls have been asking for a detailed install tutorial for the longest. It was past due time that I came on here and gave you a step-by-step tutorial on how I install all of my wigs. Now for makeup, I love the Ruby Kisses Cream Foundation in the shade 14. Is it a little bit darker than my skin tone? Yes. And that's what you need, especially when working with lace or a ball cap that's brighter than your skin tone. You always want to go in with something darker so it appears to be your skin tone. Another rule of thumb is to match the makeup to the top of your forehead, not the bottom or the center of your face, as those areas are lighter. To give that ball cap a little bit more time to dry, I'm going to go ahead and apply some makeup to the inside of my lace. The wig that I'll be installing is a 613 13x6 lace frontal wig directly from my hair vendor. If you don't know me from TikTok and Instagram, when it comes to me purchasing hair, I go directly to the stores and get it right from my hair vendor. That means wholesale pricing, faster shipping, and no middleman fees. Now when cutting the ball cap off, I like to tug it a little bit, making the material thin out so it's easier to cut, but I will say please avoid the areas where you have applied glue, or it will be very sticky on your scissors and it will not be easy to cut.
I got hoes by the blue trying to do me. My life like a movie, get hit in the water. Don't got put in no work, I in order. This shit ain't got serious, the meetings come plural. I'm leaving by more, we swiping and keeping no door. This floor, I'm young and I'm turned, I got bitches galore. My baby mom will cost 250, I'm splurging. Got 5 million cash just in case it get merging. My young niggas kill, get away, they be virgin. It happen like this, I ain't do it on purpose. I'm working my move, nigga, who's on you working? I turned on my coupe, bought a coupe off a version. I'm tired of these strippers, I'm going that nurses and doctors and dentists. You started out.
Now I will say I don't worry too much about the edges of my ball cap being super duper melted, as it's going to get laid down by the lace glue anyway. Now obviously if it's something I can go in and correct and cut off, then I'll do that, but if it's something I literally cannot grab to cut off, I won't worry about it. But back to that same cream foundation shade we use on the back of my ball cap, I'm going to go in with that on the edges of my ball cap as well, since they are brighter. Before we lay any lace glue, we have to clean off the front of that hairline. I'm using alcohol, but I'll prefer you to use witch hazel as it's safer and more gentler on the skin, but either one works.
I told you we with it, my word is like gold in my city. I tell them to go, they gon' get it. I heard that you froze when they hit it. Putting these hoes in the business, you know that you trippin'. I tell them no, they gon' listen. Knowing these niggas be...
Now as I mentioned, this wig is a full 13x6 lace frontal. It has all the parting space, but we do have those 2 combs on the inside. In my opinion, those 2 combs makes for a bulky wig install. We need this wig install flat, especially if you're wearing the hair straight. Now the comb at the nape of the neck, I don't care to keep, but them combs on the top, middle of the sides, they have to come out. I will say to be very, very, very gentle when cutting them combs out, because you do not want to cut a hole in your wig.
Some bitches, I'm different. She tryna leave me, I'm low down. I hang with savages, don't bring your whole round. I'm going bougie, I'm switching my profile. All of my cars get delivered with no mouth. They think they do and we don't, I don't know how. Run through the low, car the plug, I need more pounds. I put on trip every day from the...
Before putting this wig on, I did go ahead and cut my ear tabs off just because when it's on my head, it's really hard for me to do. So I can't even give you no tips on that part. But I will say before applying your lace glue, you want to go ahead and see how that wig fits. See how the lace is going to lay and where it's going to lay before you put that glue. Okay, it's the worst when you do all 3 of your layers, you lay that lace and there's still excess glue around the lace. Not to mention it's a pain in the butt to get off. To install this wig, I'm using the same boho active lace glue as before, and I'm doing the traditional dotting method. When I use the dotting method when applying my lace glue, it allows me to control how much I use way easier. And same as before, I want to make sure that each layer is thin and even, especially because this is my very first layer. In my opinion, the first layer of glue is the most important as it sets the foundation for the rest of your layers. So you really want to make sure you take your time to make sure that glue layer is thin and evenly spread.
I'm getting sick of this shit, post some more. Yeah, color and shot in my driving name solid. I keep it on point, make sure nobody follow us. I got a Glock with a shot that can stop a truck. I get the money, ain't ways like an octopus. Go in hell, I'm gonna give all these choppers up. 10 full of players, ain't nobody stopping us. We gotta run, give a fuck that we popping up.
And as I stated when doing my ball cap, I like to apply my glue one side at a time. I don't like to do the whole entire head at once, as the other side will have time to dry in those dots before I even get a chance to spread it out. So I apply one side of glue, spread it out, and by the time I'm done spreading that out, the other side is dry and ready for the next layer.
Back in school, I was popping again. All of my hoes get face, making my bitch too much, she lazy. I was thinking
And again, if I have too much glue on one side, all I'll do is spread it out and take the remaining on the stick and put it on the other side because it's already dry over there. That way, my install process is literally 15 minutes or less. I be getting through my layers quick when doing this method.
shit in my bank account getting outraged. Niggas better like me, had to switch up my phrase. And I'm sitting outside to the foul get flamed. Switch up my route to the house, had to change. Still with this shit, I forget that I'm trying to leave me, I'm low down. I ain't with savages, don't bring it around. I'm going bougie, I'm switching my profile. All of my cars get delivered with no mouth. They think they do what we don't, I don't know how.
And before you go on with the next layer, please allow the glue time to dry. Again, you do not want it to dry in clumps. You want it to get as clear as it can, especially before your next layer. I'm repeating the same process, and altogether I did 3 layers of glue.
I'm getting sick of this shit, post some more. Yeah, you trying to leave me, I'm low down. I ain't with savages, don't bring your whole round. I'm going bougie, I'm switching my profile. All of my cars get delivered with no mouth. They think they do what we don't, I don't know how. I do the low, got the plug, I need more pounds. I put on trip every day from the floor up. I'm getting sick of this shit, post some more. Yeah. I'm getting sick of this shit, post some more. I put on trip every day from the floor up. I'm getting sick of this shit, post some more. I put on trip every day from the floor up. I'm getting sick of
And since the ear tabs are typically the first things to lift, I do like to go in with the extra layer specifically around that area, especially if my ear tabs dry before anything else. And how you will know it's time to install your wig is when that glue is good and tacky. It should not be wet, it should be sticky. I always install my wig starting with the middle of my lace, being very gentle. Notice how I'm not roughly tugging or pulling on my lace because I don't want to cause unnecessary ripples, at least if I can help it. Not gonna lie, this part be having me so freaking anxious because I know one wrong move and I'm creating ripples. And you know, once you create ripples, you either have a few seconds to pull that lace back up before it sets into that glue, or you're just gonna have to tighten the back of the wig, and that's literally gonna cause you to have the worst headache ever.
go to lunch in the Jewish community. I won't tell on the bros for the immunity.
And this is why it is so important to map out where your lace is going to lay before you start applying that glue, so you know exactly where to lay your lace once that glue is laid. To better help with this, some people actually trace on top of the lace before they start laying the glue so they can see where to put the glue at. I personally don't like that method because it was hard for me to remove the marks afterwards personally, but to each their own. After I laid my lace down, I do like to go in with the heat from my hands and further press that lace into the glue. Not pressing it too hard to where the glue is literally seeping through the lace and it's all sticky, but enough for it to attach. To further help secure that lace into the glue, I'm going to go in with my comb and lightly comb around the hairline. I also like to go in with my hot comb as well. In my mind, the heat from the hot comb makes the glue stick better. Is that actual logic? I don't know, but it works for me. And another tip I use for a quick and fast install is to go ahead and do my part before I put that melt band on. Because personally, I cannot do no type of styling if I already have my melt band on and I did not go ahead and part out my hair. Because I need everything to be in line. I need my part to be straight. I need it to be flat at the top. And that melt band is going to prevent you from getting your part super duper flat.
She got serious, the millions come plural. I'm living by more. We swiping and keeping no door. Explorer. I'm young and I'm turned. I got bitches galore. My baby mom will cost 250. I'm splurging. Got 5 million cash just in case it get merging. My young niggas still get away. They be virgin. It happen like.
And before I apply my melt band, I like to make sure every single hair is hot combed back. This makes it easy to achieve a clean install, because the last thing you want is to put that melt band on and you had stray hairs in the way and you got to take it off and you got to fight with them hairs to get it to lay back. I did end up keeping my melt band on for at least 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit less, just so the lace is fully cured into the glue. And if you haven't noticed by now, I do talk a lot. Even on my Instagram and TikTok videos, I'm a talker, I'm a yapper, always have been. If that ain't your jam, it's not your vibe, sorry, not sorry. But when cutting off my lace, I always use an eyebrow razor, preferably a new eyebrow razor. And when cutting my lace, I prefer to pull it forward and downward and cut at the top. That way I'm not pulling the lace up from the glue. And when cutting this part of the lace, I purposely left a little extra on there just so I can keep the shape of that hairline.
That nurses and doctors and dentists, you started, I finished. I told you we with it. My word is like gold in my city. I tell them to go, they gon' get it. I heard that you froze when they hit it. Putting these hoes in the business, you know that you trippin'. I tell them no, they gon' listen. Knowing these niggas be sweet and some bitches, I'm different. She tryna leave me, I'm low down. I hang with savages, don't bring your whole round. I'm going bougie, I'm switching my profile. All of my cars get delivered with no mouth. They think they do and we don't, I don't know how.
But since I purposely left a little extra lace, I do have to go back in and do 3 additional layers right in that little bit of area. You could do 1 layer here, but it's not going to last as long as the rest of your install is. So you might as well do your full 3 layers. Now, could you do more than 3 layers on your whole entire install? Yes, I used to do personally 4 to 5 layers, and it used to last me weeks at a time. And even weeks at a time, when it's time to take it off, I would literally have to pull it off with all my force.
I put on trip every day from the floor. I'm getting sick of this shit, post some more. Yeah. Colin and shot in my driving name solid. I keep them on point, make sure nobody follow us. I got a Glock with a shot that can stop a truck. I get the money 8 ways like an octopus. Go in hell, I'ma give all these choppers up. Team full of players, ain't nobody stopping us. We got a run, give a fuck that we popping them. Been raising hell back in school, I was popping them. Yeah. All of my hoes get fed, she fed me. Making my bitch too much, she lazy. I was thinking price too high and not ready.
Now, I should have mapped out exactly where that little piece of lace was going to lay, because now I have extra glue around that area, but I'm not too worried about it. And this is exactly where I created that little ripple. All the lace didn't lay evenly now that I'm looking at it. So if you are going to do that additional little step to create that natural looking hairline, I would recommend you get a super duper close mirror so you can see how the lace is going to lay. And before melting my lace, I do like to slightly pull against the lace just so I can see what areas need to be cut off, because I personally don't want to go around my whole head and do additional layers. I just don't feel like it. And the last thing you want is to just lay those areas down with melting spray, because that melting spray is not going to last you a week. It's going to start lifting before the rest of your lace and it's going to look crazy. So I suggest you just either cut it off or go back in with additional glue. And with HG lace, you do not need that much makeup, or you can cause your lace to actually look darker. But as you can see, before the melting spray, we were already giving scalp. Literally, it gave my hair. I'm a natural blonde. What are you talking about? And for my melting spray, I always go in with my Frontal Clean Lace Melting Spray. This has been my girl since I tried it for the first time. Does it spray out a little weird? Yes, I wish they did have a better nozzle, but it works amazingly. I personally prefer to spray it on my fingers so I have better control of where I'm putting the product, and then I tie it down for at least 30 minutes at least. And since my part was already done before I put that melt band on, now we can go in and style. The styling ain't gonna be nothing too crazy. I'm literally just doing bone straight side part, but I didn't want the hair to fall too far in my face. And when wearing my hair straight, I always have to go in part sections and go in with my wax stick and my hot comb. I cannot stand me a bulky wig install, especially because this is my birthday wig install. Are you kidding me? And just a tip, always let your hot comb fully heat up before you start using it so you can get the maximum efficiency. Is that even the right way to use efficiency? I don't know, but it made sense to me. And with these sections, you want to make sure they are not too big. That way you can really get it flat. And if you're going to use a wax stick, make sure you don't use too much towards the front of your hair, because once you heat it up with that hot comb or that flat iron, it's going to melt a little bit. And once it melts, if you use too much towards the front, it's going to cause the front of your hair to look really oily.
Still with this shit, I forget that I'm trying to leave me, I'm low down. I ain't with savages, don't bring your whole round. I'm going bougie, I'm switching my profile. All of my cars get delivered with no mouth. They think they do and we don't, I don't know how. I do the low, got the plug, I need more pounds. I put on trip every day from the floor. I'm getting sick of this shit. shit, post some more. Yeah, you tryna leave me, I'm low down. I hang with savages, don't bring your whole round. I'm going bougie, I'm switching my profile. All of my cars get delivered with no mouth.
And something I see a lot of girls do when they use a hot comb is they don't press the back of the hot comb on the hair. The teeth itself is not going to get your hair flat. It's the back of that hot comb. You want to apply that pressure. Like, you really need to be pressing that hot comb down. That's why it was called a pressing comb. Pressing comb, hot comb, same thing.
They do and we don't, I don't know how. I do the low, got the plug, I need more pounds. I put on drip every day from the floor up. I'm getting sick of this shit, post some more. Yeah.
And I'm taking that same Ruby Kisses cream foundation. As I told you, it is a shade or two darker than me, so I'm going to go in with that in my part. And I always preach this when doing my wig installs. Always go in with something darker in your part if you're wearing a bright color, just because it'll make it stand out more. If you go in with something lighter, the part isn't really going to stand out. And to straighten my hair, I'm using my titanium plate Kapazi flat iron that I got from Amazon a couple years ago. She's still hanging in there, and I always go in with 450. This gets the job done. You want to make sure you're doing a slow pass. Detangle that hair first with a rat tail comb and do the chase method. You're going to chase that comb with your flat iron. Again, do slow passes. If you're doing fast passes, you're going to have to keep going over the hair, by the way. Now, I was getting a little lazy towards the top doing real big sections, but I always prefer you to do smaller sections. That way you can get better control over the heat over all those hair strands. For instance, here, I was attempting to do that whole section by itself, knowing that was not going to work. My flat iron is not that big.
Go to lunch in the Jewish community. I won't tell on the bros for the immunity. Paying beat them, that shit ain't gon' ruin me. I'm the only one now let outdo me. I got hoes by the group tryna do me. My life like a movie, get hit in the water. Don't got put in no work, I in order. This shit ain't got serious, the millions come plural. I'm living by more, we swiping and keeping no word. This floor, I'm young and I'm turned, I got bitches galore. My baby mom will cost 250, I'm splurging. Got 5 million cash just in case if you merging. My young niggas still get away, they be virgin.
Finishing up the styling with a little bit more wax stick at the top to lay down those flyaways. When I tell you I am such a perfectionist when it comes to my hair, that's why I prefer to do everything myself so I can go in and fix every minor detail. Because from what I heard, some of them hairstylists be mad if you ask them to change or fix one little thing. I don't have time for it. So again, that's why I prefer to do everything myself so I know it's going to come out right. And before finishing up your install, you always want to go in and do final touches. Take that melt button off, see where that hairline is sitting, hot comb every little thing that needs to be hot combed. And Redken sent me this argan oil serum a while ago. When I tell you this worked wonders for this hair, because I personally noticed that 613 wigs can be a bit more frizzy, so I do like to go in with the heavy serum to weigh that hair down a little bit, especially if I'm wearing the hair straight. Like I told you, a true perfectionist when it comes to my hair. Every hair has to be laid just the way I like it.
I'm tired of these strippers, I'm pouring that nurses and doctors and dentists. You started, I finished, I told you we with it, my word is like gold.
And just like that, the install is done. Watch this a few times if you need to, and practice. And most importantly, invest into some good lace. I don't know if they told you, but the wig actually matters. When you invest into a high quality wig, it's way easier to install, especially if you're a beginner. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you come back for more. Don't forget to like and subscribe.